But here's the deal. It doesn't have to be a nonprofit. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be like some charity that's American Heart Association, and all these things are doing great things. Hey, be passionate about pouring into your kids. Yeah. Be passionate about being a coach somewhere and influencing somebody. Be passionate about like tutoring at your kid's school. I mean, be passionate about something that is doing good for someone else and not yourself.
What's going on, D?
Not much. What's happening?
You tell me.
What the business is. All things are good.
Are they?
I'm ready to, yes, let's go, man. I got some energy today. Let's get this
All things
going.
are good in your world.
Yeah, all things are good.
All right, so for those of you that are listening right now, you may be confused. It's not actually Monday. This is not a guest interview. This is actually a roundtable.
This is Monday.
And Darren is joining us.
Yeah.
On a roundtable.
This is Monday.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
It's good to have you.
Yeah, you missed me.
It's good to have your wisdom, your perspective, your white teeth.
Yeah,
it's good
Tyler
to have all
calls
the
me all
back.
the time. I said,
I miss you.
Yeah,
you just leave me there by myself.
I can't do this by myself anymore.
He's just so dumb.
But man, it's good to get the three best friends back together, you know?
You know, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I question if he thinks that we're the three best friends still.
Why did you say he and nod at me?
Hey, name a better friend to him. Oh, wait.
Name a better friend than Darren?
No, yeah. We are two Darren.
Oh, well, that's what
Oh,
I'm
wait a
saying.
minute.
That's what I'm saying.
Hold on.
Wait.
Darren, seriously, I'm not joking right now.
Which one of your friends calls you 9 times a day?
If you were gonna power rank your friends, why would we be 1 and 2?
Why wouldn't we be?
Why wouldn't you?
Why would we be? Why would you be? Yeah, tell me why we'd be 1
I'm
and 2.
asking you, why would you be? Why do you think you would be?
I'm loyal. I'm there for you.
Okay. Do you love me?
I would say
I love
Ben,
you.
You love me.
I would
I love
say Ben makes your life easier yet harder on a daily basis.
Actually,
You know what?
doesn't.
The last
he doesn't,
3,
man.
4, 5 months, we barely even talk during the week.
No, we
What?
don't. No.
Unless we're
There's a
here
lot of-
doing
you
the
guys
pod,
okay?
we don't talk.
No.
Are you guys okay?
No.
No, I just know I'm being a good friend.
Yeah.
I'm giving him I know that there's 1,900 other people.
Keeps on using that word friend.
I know I'm his
using that
brother.
Yeah.
And I know how many directions he's pulled in, so I'm trying to give him the space.
No, it's been, look, we try to get rid of that word busy, but it's been crazy time for all of us.
It's been
Look,
we've been active.
for
Look,
sure.
I've
been
known you
active.
6 years now. And I know there's a lot of people that know you a lot longer.
Yeah.
But I've known you 6 years now. I've never seen you like this.
I've never seen all of us are like this. So
Oh,
honestly, we're all here at this point. But,
Yeah.
there's some things that, for me, just personally, there's some things that are bubbling up that needed some attention, and we're there.
Well, I'll just say I'm like a jealous girlfriend. You haven't been giving me the attention I need.
Oh,
Ben's the guy standing outside in the rain looking inside your house, literally and metaphorically.
while Tiffany's looking out the window like, who's this fool?
Yeah. Quite literally, I've been outside your window. Longing for you to come back to me.
Speaking of, I don't want to get off topic, man, but
There's no
We
topic.
haven't picked a topic yet.
we're about to go down one. But I know there's a lot of dog lovers out there. You do have a dog now.
We do.
Ty,
I don't know if it's
I wouldn't count
classified
that
as a dog technically.
How
I
big
would
is
count
it?
it a
Well,
large
it's 4.5
gerbil.
pounds. It's
You gotta-
4.5 pounds.
That's so
Jeez, that's
funny.
not
to me.
Yeah, got a haircut, so it's 4 pounds now. So
That is so funny to me that you have a 4-pound dog.
4 pound.
It's like
Is that
it's
considered
like
a dog? Like
that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
If an owl can
It's not
fly
my
through the
dog,
night
it's
and
my
grab
wife's dog.
your animal, that's not a dog.
Yeah.
Like, we could take them off.
If it literally cannot be trained just because it doesn't have the intellectual capacity to be trained, it's not a dog, in my opinion. So therefore, mine is not a dog.
Damn.
I don't care how small it is, but if your brain is so small, see, I think
Oh,
dogs
the
are
animal
smart,
lovers
right?
are coming.
I
They're
love
coming.
no, I
they're coming,
love
dude.
dogs.
You
I
said
love
it.
dogs, but
I've got a hot take on dogs.
when dogs and gerbils breed, I wouldn't consider it technically.
I've got a hot take on dogs. Highly overrated.
Oh my
Living
God.
with a dog is an overrated thing.
You know what we should do is we should have an episode where we just fire off things at Ben and see if we can get him to say anything is underrated.
Right, exactly.
I don't know if I've ever heard him say, dude, you know what's highly underrated?
No.
That's really actually good that I enjoy in life?
Yeah.
I've never heard him say that.
I haven't heard him say it
I mean, I
either.
can think of some things, but I'm just saying owning a dog is overrated.
It depends. Yeah, it depends. It depends on your life
Man,
situation.
that's
Would you agree?
No.
It's a broad
And I was going
stroke,
to go
man.
down a road, but I'm like, they're not overrated. They're not overrated.
Tell me what is so great about living with a
It's the
dog.
companionship, man.
Yeah.
It's the fact that your dog is always forgiving.
Yeah.
And that was what I was going to say today. Like, it doesn't matter what happens with my dog. My dog's name's Kane. And it doesn't matter what happens to him. I could yell at him. He could rip something up and I just go at him and blah, blah, blah. That dog, next 5 minutes later, he's right up on me.
Come set his head on your lap.
On the head on the lap, like, man, I got you, dog.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You got a
that's my
human
role.
baby that
That's
does the same thing.
In real terms, that's my role dog.
Yeah.
Like, he is there. He's forgiving, man. I was just going to say this today because, last night he was outside. We were gone all day long, right? And I come home, man, and you could tell he's outside and he just looks at me through the window, got these sad eyes. And I walk outside and he's all over me. And I'm like, man, see, this is what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get he doesn't give you the, I thought you were going to be home at 5 o'clock.
You didn't tell me.
You told me you were going to be home at 5. It's 6:30 right
It's
now.
cold out here.
It's
Tyler,
cold.
are you venting right now?
Here. Yeah.
Is this code?
No, dogs say that to people, don't they? I mean, it's never happened to me in any other situation in life. But
Look, I'll say this about dogs. This is a classic case of
You know what it is? You can't
This
love.
is a classic case
You can't
of
love.
something that I
never
haven't
had.
experienced,
Yeah.
and so but I think I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I haven't had a dog since I was 12.
right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
this is a classic case.
It's all
of just
life circumstances.
having an opinion on something I don't know anything about.
Hey, tell
Yeah.
the truth though.
What?
You got bit in the ass by a stray dog
That's a
one
fact.
time. That's a fact.
It wasn't a
right?
stray dog. It was a quote unquote tame.
It was a tame dog.
It was an owned.
And
pet.
where did he bite you? On the ass
Yes.
cheek, right?
In the booty cheek.
So it's been since that point.
I really am scared of dogs because of that moment when I was 12.
That's the reason we feel this way then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't feel the love.
Past trauma.
Yeah, I get it. The experiences you went through. What that feel like? Was your ass bleeding the whole time?
No.
Were you like rubbing your ass on
It
the
probably
ground?
didn't even break the skin.
Did it break? Oh, you told
But
me
you
it was
started-
like so much trauma. They had to rush you to the
Probably
hospital.
just barked really aggressively.
You just felt your booty
Yeah, I was in the
cheek.
hospital for like 6 weeks. I was paralyzed in my left leg. It was crazy.
Oh, all right.
Anyways,
Anyway,
I do love to clarify. I'm with you. I want a dog. I want a real dog,
Yeah.
and I can't wait.
Can't
you know
say
what?
that.
I think I would actually, if I was going to get a dog, I would actually lean to the 4-pound gerbil.
No, you
version.
would
I'll
not.
say this though,
No,
my
you wouldn't.
wife is in love, and it's a good dog. And I joke about it. It's a good dog, but this dog literally sleeps in my wife's neck,
wow. At
it
night?
curls up. It's literally a ball this big when she sleeps, and she's like a little baby, and my wife gets baby fever. She loves babies, right? And that's why we had 3 and 4s because she
Right.
wanted another baby, and this kind of gives her a fix because it literally just curls up whenever, just climbs up. And really, she is super low maintenance except for the pack.
Aren't you afraid you're going to step on the
Craps
dog?
and pees all over the house.
Oh, those dogs are quick. They can get out of the way.
No. Tyler, middle of the night, just happens to
We're
get up.
talking about elite athletes like Gronk just stumbling and bumbling. It's your boy in the house.
Yeah, I would say fullbacks are the least athletic people on the field. So
Oh,
You think
wow.
they're
We don't need to get down the whole
less
conversation.
athletic than like a D tackle?
when I think of
Or a
fullback,
nose, or a left guard?
I think Gronk actually. When I think of I like to football. That's what I think of. When I think of
When you think
fullback.
about fullback?
Anyway,
When
Well,
in
you might have an
reality,
argument
in
there.
your experience, are fullbacks not usually more of the intelligent players on the field?
Yes. I would say that. Very intelligent. Yes. I think the fullback, center
Yeah.
are going to be
Similar.
quarterback.
I would say
of
that,
course,
yes.
are going to be your smartest guys on the field. Yeah.
you ever heard the phrase "you laugh, or else you would cry"? I laugh, or else, what's that? What they say?
I laugh so I don't cry, or
Yeah,
what?
something like that.
I
You ever heard
can't.
that phrase? Anything like
Something like that. I just can't.
That's what I
remember
think. That's what we're doing right now. We're avoiding
the topic.
the world.
Yeah.
What's going on in the world right now?
Yeah.
because they'll just make you cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess what we're talking about specifically, obviously, is the current world events, the war in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know how much you're following it.
Mm-hmm.
Darren, you said you have a friend
Yeah.
who's originated from Ukraine.
Yeah, that's going through it right now. His family's there, and he and his wife are going through it right now. And they're, I just didn't know. Look, you hear about things on the news, you watch, whatever channel you tune into, and you see all the, what's going on with Russia invading Ukraine, and you can't get perspective because you're not there.
Mm-hmm.
You hear it, and you're like, oh my God, you hear the stories, and what saddens you is when I watch and I see their kids and all that saddens you, but then it's like, okay, then I'm off to the next thing, right? And it wasn't until I had a good friend, I'm not gonna mention his name, but I had a good friend and his wife come over and talk about it. And that was, and put it in terms where I could relate to family members and put it, well, if that was my brother and my sister and my cousins and blah, blah, blah. And they walked into Poland, and the men in the family couldn't cross the border because they were fighting age. They kept them back. And that it just, and separating 6-7-year-old kids from their families. And I was like, okay, well, how would that look if I was separated from my own son at 5 years old? And it was just, the emotions were like, got me. Then it got me there to thinking, man, these are people, this could easily be right here in this country happening to us. And if it was, that'd be a tough deal.
And so it is. And what this, I think, has done for a lot of us is okay, hey, we see this happening over here, but really, like, every human, like, the selfishness, I mean, not in a bad sense, right? As you put it in, okay, how does this affect my world, right? And you think, okay, what happens if this comes here? I was on a call with a client from Canada, and they were talking about how worried they are, right? They're going through their own stuff right now. They're going through a bunch of issues up in Canada, and there's a bunch of protests and riots, and they're going through that, but the connection from Canada to Russia over the North Pole is there's ways that Russia can literally get direct access to the northern territories of Canada, right? And so they're seriously worried, and they were talking, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, like, then that's just
right there,
the other side of us. And so, in real life for in my household is my kids asked, like, okay, well, what does this mean? Like, what happens if, this is my 10-year-old who gets it a little bit more, is what happens if it comes here? And I said, well, sweetheart, I mean, then daddy goes to serve our country. And there's a call for brave men to step up and protect our families and all that. And I just kind of loosely said it. And my wife, I was gone that next night, and my wife was doing bedtime with the kids. And, like, the kids were, like, literally in tears, and my wife was too. Just the idea of running through this scenario of what if it does come here, right?
Right.
Who knows? And it's hard, and we can talk. I want to talk more about this later, but it's hard to cipher through what's being released, what's going to happen. Talking about China, if they're going to do the same thing to Taiwan, or is Russia going to continue to expand? Is this all a big ploy to attack the United States? I mean, there's all these conspiracy theories, but reality is what happens if it does?
Yeah.
How does that affect our lives? And I think every one of us in some scenario has ran through that in our mind.
Yeah.
And it's very real. Like, in our lifetime, right? We've had conflict in the Middle East. I guess you caught.
So Vietnam when
Vietnam.
I was a kid.
I was going to say, you caught Vietnam.
My uncles, my family was in Vietnam.
Right, so you're seeing a draft, like a real life draft.
Right. So I was too young to understand what was going on. I was a year old.
So you don't remember
I don't
Vietnam
remember
at
it.
all?
I just know my uncle served.
Yeah.
Father served.
Yeah.
But, I didn't catch that end of it. But, like, you're right. Like, there was a draft back then. And if you're imagining those type of things happening, like, again, the perspective goes back to, well, I got, two younger sons, one's 21, one's 27.
Right.
Like, they're going to be fighting.
Yeah.
They would be fighting.
Yeah.
I got a 5-year-old that I would be separated from. Like, it just saddens you because this is real life, and we're not we're not there and privy to what those experiences are. We're sitting here and we're kind of numb to what's going on because we're watching it from afar, and it just saddens you.
Yeah, I remember last week when it all went down, sitting there thinking how weird it is. This is happening on the other side of the world, and I'm sitting here doing a market survey for a project that we're working on. Like, we're just going about our day like nothing's going on.
Yeah.
And so the thought I kept having was, it's so interesting how we have the ability to compartmentalize these things because it doesn't directly affect me yet. I'm able to set it aside in this bucket. As selfish as that sounds in my head, I'm able to set this, what's going on the other side of the world, aside and still get the things done that affect my day-to-day life.
Yeah, and think, right, is 50 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that, is you would have to wait for that to happen. Then you would have to wait for media to either get there to report on it or media there to then report it, send it out, Eastern to Western Europe, right? And then get to the United States and then be printed in a paper days after it happened.
Right. Yeah, and that's the other thing is how much of this...
We're seeing it real time now.
Right.
So it's like you said, it's like, all right, like I hear it and like I think about it, but then it's like, all right, now I'm going to put it away and I'm going to get done when I need to get done. Is because we just have so much access to information all the time.
So why is this moment right now so different than
I wasn't asking you that.
when we invaded Iraq?
Yeah.
Or, with all that going on, or Syria, I mean, why is this one different? Because our soldiers fought. We've interviewed so many guys on this show that served and spent time in Iraq. Why is this one? Is this different?
I was going to ask you that because this is the first one I really remember truly being aware of. Now, obviously, I knew about 9/11, but I was in middle school.
Like
and so I don't remember a lot
of terror. That wasn't like an actual invasion where like military forces are pushing into another country. Now, again, I think we're numb to the Middle East just because there's been conflict there for so long, right? You've got one tribe coming in trying to take over another tribe, and they're just this back and forth constantly. So we're a little bit numb there because that's constantly happening. But if you're thinking, I mean, it's been since from an actual invasion, right? We haven't seen anything like this since World War II. So that's why it's such a big deal, like an all-out invasion. Here's the difference. I think what's the difference between Syria and Iraq and all that is we look at it like the good guys are going in to protect everybody. Right?
Yeah.
Did the Iraqis think that?
No. And that's what I'm saying to you.
The Iraqis probably thought like,
no.
The evil guys are coming in to
and it
our
wasn't
home.
just the Iraqis. There were other countries who would say the same thing. Well, look, you guys U.S. was invading another country.
Yeah.
Period. Iraq, right? And you had China, of course, and Russia, and everybody were like, why are you doing this? Yeah. And now it's just the opposite. It's flipped. Russia is invading another country, and we're on the outside looking and going, what the heck? But at the same time, there's still lives that are being affected in both situations. But why is it different? This one's different for some reason.
It's when the perceived bad guy
that's exactly what it is.
Is moving forward.
Yes.
Right?
And you don't know when he's going to stop.
Yeah.
Or is this going to be? And it's probably because it's the first time we are starting to feel threatened. Yeah. And on our own soil, that something could catapult this to an all-out.
Well, think about it. We've been talking about it for years. Like, okay, China positioning themselves against the United States, right? Whether it's economically, whether it's technology, whether it's manufacturing, whatever it is, right? They have so much leverage on the United States, and they've been doing so for years. Well, now there's the thought process, I wouldn't say theory, right? That Russia and China are working together. That is either the second and third most powerful countries in the world or the first and third most powerful country in the world, right? Teaming up.
Well, I don't know how accurate, meaning when you say powerful, what do you mean by that?
I think from a military
Because the Russian economy is not good at all.
Not now.
Which is why they're
you're right.
They're
You're
getting
right.
hammered right now with these sanctions
Right.
and things like that.
But from a military perspective,
Yeah, from a nuclear arsenal perspective, yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. From a threat. When I say powerful, if someone was going to invade, right? Who are the three countries that you'd say 1, 2, 3? You'd say United States, China, and Russia.
Yeah.
What other countries really would you say I'm terrified of?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
They have the capabilities.
They have the capabilities of So that's what my mind turns to. Okay, yeah, Russia. But if Russia and China become really strong allies, now there's going to be a lot of death associated with that. And they combat, and now we're talking about World War III. Now we're talking about scary things, and that's where I think. But to your point, Ben, is like, there's the threat of World War III, but I got to finish going through this letter of intent, and I got to go to my kids. I got to go to my kids' soccer game, and I got to go to my. You know what I mean? It's like, how do we do that? Like, how do we as people, like, because I think that there's a healthy way to manage it, because I think that there's some people probably in the United States that are going out, buying ammo, buying food, stocking up. I mean, there's people that now this is debilitating them because this is all that they're thinking about. And I don't think that that's healthy. But at the same time, how do we acknowledge it in a way that's actually productive?
Yeah. And that's true.
Yeah. But that's the weird part to me is why do some people react that way? And others like us, we're concerned, but we're still going about our day like really nothing's going, or at least that's how I'm going about my day.
Yeah.
My actions are showing there's really nothing going on at the moment because nothing's personally touched me yet with this. Yeah. Now, again, I feel so selfish when I say that. And I actually tried to look this up. I thought there was a term for this. Like you physically and mentally don't have the ability to care about everything. And care about every atrocity going on. You just can't. You literally can't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you had the ability, you would be debilitated. You'd be paralyzed. With anxiety.
Well, and hence our world right now, right? With Facebook probably kicked it off. When you know everything about everybody, right? You know every tragedy. You know every time somebody's sick. You know every time. Somebody's lost someone, every time someone lost a job, every time something within your community and extended community has happened. And why do you think that people are full of anxiety, right? You hear all the negative things and you feel connected to it because I'm friends with you, right? And I'm following you, and I feel like I have a deeper connection than just reading it on the news. So, I mean, and I'll say this, like, and I love my mom, but like, one of the things that I literally have to say is, hey, listen, like, you can't let that affect you and ruin your week, because somebody that she's met maybe once in person will get sick and she's devastated. And I love that my mom feels, and my mom feels really hard for people and is like extremely empathetic, but it'll like ruin her for a day or two. And she's like so sad about it. It's like, okay, why do you think that we struggle with anxiety? Why do you think we struggle with stress? Is because us being as humans are designed to live within a tribe of 100 to 150 people, right? That's how we operate. Now when our tribe is hundreds of thousands and millions that we feel connected to in some way or another, now we're soaking all of that negativity and all those hard times in. And that's just overloading, and it's a capacity deal. Like, there's a term, like, there's only so much capacity you really have to care.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, like, you can get sad about things.
Yeah.
You can care about things, but what are you actually doing about it is what holds more weight.
Yeah.
Like, I can get sad about what's going on in Ukraine, but what am I really doing about it?
Yeah.
Am I donating?
That's it. Yeah.
So what, I guess that's what keeps spinning around in my head is what we choose to act on. Like
Darren, I think a lot of it is that what we choose to act on are things that we're familiar with, right? So, growing up in the inner city, like I have an affection for, because I grew up in the inner city and I saw the plight and I saw the damage that crack cocaine and drugs and how bad the education was. Like, I have this affinity to I need to help. I need to serve. I need to give back. And it was today, I told you today, I was with one of our old guests, Randy Bowman, with his group called At Last. And they're in the inner city. And he was telling a story about the kids that were in his program today. And I felt like I was sitting right next to those kids. Like I put myself in his shoes because of the experience that I had. I felt it. It was like a part of me. I'm a part of that fabric, right? That was a feeling of, oh my God, now I need to go do something. Today I basically got online and donated to At Last because I just feel something there.
How much did you donate?
Not a lot. Not enough.
But in that,
you would point blank me, wouldn't you?
but in that scenario, another fascinating thought is, all these it's not. I guess it's protests. All these people get together for the UK, Ukraine, Russia. All over the country, all over the world. And yet, daily we're not putting protests and things together for inner city youth who are struggling every single. So why do we do that too? I wonder. Why do these big events, we all come together and band together, but for everyday things like a 12-year-old in the inner city struggling to eat, we're not banding together for that. You care about it because that's where you come from. But the majority of us don't.
And my theory is that we have access to so much. We think that, I'm going to give a little here, I'm going to give a little here, a little here, a little here. The problem is you're never going to make any impact just scratching the surface in a bunch of different areas, right? And that's the culture we are. Hey, we get invited to this fundraiser. All right, I'm going to give $500 at this dinner, right? And then I go to this, and then and I give a little bit here, I give a little bit there, and you're not actually gaining any ground because you're literally just one swing with this one dig with the shovel, and then you move on, and then you move on, and you move on. So there's no impact that's actually being made is because we're not focusing our efforts on one cause or even two causes that are important to your heart. You're just doing it because you think you're supposed to.
It's an attention issue, right? To that point, so Ukraine, Russia goes down, that's dominated the media. When's the last time you read a report on COVID or on Canada?
Weird.
We're just we're like dogs chasing squirrels. Whatever the latest thing is, that's what we're after. And we don't sink into something long enough to really make, to your point, I'm going to give a little bit here, I'm going to give a little bit there, I'm going to spend a little bit of time here, but never enough to truly make an impact.
Just imagine like an education system like that, right? Imagine going to college and saying, hey, we're just going to give you just a general education. You're going to go to math class one day. You're going to go to literature class one day.
Wait, is this my college syllabus?
Are you giving the highlights of my college career? But what I'm saying is, though, what are you ever going to be good at if you're just focusing on it? And we're going to talk about this in another episode, but what it takes to really like gain character and wisdom is it's a long and enduring journey. It's not overnight.
No.
So if you're talking about making an impact, it's not, hey, Thanksgiving, I'm just handing out some meals and I might see you next year. I might find something better.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like, and that's great. And I'm not saying don't go volunteer. What I'm saying though is find something that you're passionate about and you can be hyper focused on.
For you, Tyler, it's the human sex trafficking. I mean, that's going on literally in our backyard in Dallas. And most of us have no clue.
We're talking like,
and that's going on every day.
In just the state of Texas, almost 500,000 women and children are being trafficked in the state of Texas.
How is it possible that that's going on and none of us care about it? You do, because you've taken an interest in it and you've chosen that. This is the avenue I'm going to go and I'm going to attack.
Here's the problem, though, is that there are people that care about it. And there are people that are fighting it every day. And there are people that are making a difference. And we're lucky enough to live in a state that the governor has recognized that and put into legislation because people have brought it to the forefront and they're actually doing things. Law enforcement is being now funded for that. So there are things that are getting done because a select few people are hyper focused on it. And we're making progress in that. And it's the awareness aspect of it. But like it doesn't change. If all these people that are hyper focused on it, nothing would happen, right? And they're like, I'm gonna spend an hour a month doing some volunteer work on sex trafficking, and that's it. like no progress is being made.
That's like saying I'm going to go to the gym once a month and I'm going to be shredded.
Exactly.
You're not really getting. There's good coming out of that.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is to you both is how do we get that level of a commitment from enough people to truly make?
Well,
a
that's
change?
on everybody.
Well, it depends
right?
on the. It depends on whatever.
Right.
you're
And so
talking
what
about.
speaks to you?
Yeah.
Whatever
Tyler,
it is.
for you, it's human sex trafficking.
Right.
Darren, for you, it's the inner city. For
Right.
me, because of my personal experience, it's mission work.
Right.
Yeah.
That speaks to me.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
There's nothing wrong
I guess
with that.
the bleeding heart says, well, there's so many issues and I've got to care about all these. I think the point probably is find something and go attack that.
Well, here's
Yeah.
the deal. It doesn't have to be a nonprofit. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be like some charity that's American Heart Association and all these things are doing great things. Hey, be passionate about pouring into your kids. Yeah. Be passionate about being a coach somewhere and influencing somebody. Be passionate about like tutoring at your kid's school. I mean, be passionate about something that is doing good for someone else and not yourself.
Yeah, we've made it very easy, and I'm more guilty than anybody you know. We've made it very easy to live in the smallest possible. To get my job done on a day-to-day basis, to eat, to feed my family, I literally would not have to talk to another soul on a day-to-day basis if I didn't want to.
Yeah.
That's fitting for
I
you.
could get it done
Very fitting for
very
you.
easily.
Yeah.
That fits my personality.
Yes, it does. Yes. But just think about
But that's
that.
the problem, right?
Yeah.
It's so easy for me to get lost in my
Yeah.
bubble and never affect anybody else.
I'm a firm believer, man. You have doers that are in this world, man, and you have those that don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, there are people who are just do and give. I remember this. He doesn't probably remember this, but I remember hearing the story about Tyler that people were out of town or something happened. You had to build basically a playground for was it a school or a nursery or
no, it was Brian's house.
Brian's house.
Takes in disabled kids for
I mean, basically, you went out and you dug the ditch or whatever you did, helped them fill up this. I mean, but it's like work that you did on a weekend by yourself. Like there are people that are doers, and then there are people that flat out, it's just who they are. They will not lift a freaking hand, whether it be a pen to sign a check or $1 or serve time. It's just not in them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not in them. So, you know what? I can't even say shame on them because in life, and I'll say another thing, man. I got this burning on my heart today, man. We were when I was on this panel with Randy Bowman. Some of us are called for greatness. Some of us are called to greatness, like to do shit that other people just won't do. Like it's a calling, man, and God burns it in you to say, okay, it is this. I have this for you, son. You go do this, and you have that dog in you. You step up and do it. But then there's others in this world that just don't. It doesn't call. It's not burning in them. They don't have it. It's just not there, and that's why you see people, and you see all these haters hating on people that are very successful and they do things. They're doers.
Yeah.
And we hate on those same freaking people. Oh, they don't give enough. Or they don't do this. They're doing something, though. They're employing people. They're doing things to change society. And that's not everybody, man. That is not everybody. And I just wanted to put it out there because it's the reality. We're not all built the same.
Yeah. The book I'm reading right now, Giver. He breaks it down to givers and takers.
That's right.
Yeah. There's people that give, and that's what I think about whenever I think of you two and so many other people. And there's takers that are constantly just consuming as opposed to contributing.
Yes.
And it's, I don't know. I guess the main theme is, like I said, it's so weird to me how we can care about one thing that truly affects us.
Yeah.
And then we're able to sweep everything else under the rug.
Yeah. But I think, look, there's an emotional maturity to the point that you just said, the givers and the takers. There's an emotional maturity that comes with that because a taker is just someone that just has not emotionally evolved. It's somebody that, like, here's an example, like you go to church and you switch churches all the time because like, I'm just not being fed. This pastor's not good. Man, the worship music isn't good. I don't like it. And then you bounce around to churches because they're not giving to you. They're not the people that recognize like, hey, like The growth comes when I'm going and serving in the preschool class. I'm leading a little small group. I'm doing this, right? And that's just the church scenario, but it's the same thing in your job, right? It's the people that ask for stuff, that ask.
Bitch.
Exactly. Yeah. Right? It's a simple-mindedness that just thinks that like I'm just going to take. And it's somebody that like walks out to the garden and picks up all the fruit and never tends it.
That's right.
Right. And that's a maturity. That comes with maturity. That comes with experience. And that comes with someone that's like gone through tough times and been at the bottom. We just have so many people in this time that haven't had to do much and have had a pretty good life.
Yeah.
And they haven't been challenged and they haven't been humbled and they haven't been forced to grow up. And I just look, if you feel like you're being attacked right now, if you feel like, hey, that's not true, or if you think that, oh no, that's somebody else, it's probably you.
Yeah,
it's probably
absolutely.
you.
Yeah.
Or you're thinking, oh, I know this person. Guess what? It's all of us, because all of us have some of that take in us, right?
Yep.
Like, what's going to serve me? If I do this, we have that all in us. But here's what I'd encourage, whatever the scenario is, right? Whatever the circumstance, whatever the opportunity is just see what it's like. If you don't remember the last time you did something for somebody else, see what it's like. See what it would be like to actually pour into somebody else. Wow.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing about giving. And y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Have you ever left an event, Darren? Now, you've been a lot of them. Maybe there have been some bad ones. But have you ever left feeling like that was I wish I hadn't gone to that?
Yes,
I have. I've been
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's
so
okay.
You just crushed my point.
Yeah, no.
My point was, I guess the point I'm trying to make is,
absolutely.
it always feels good when you give.
Yeah, it does.
It
There's
always
a sense
does.
of fulfillment that's
now the
there.
event may suck,
Right.
But the act of giving,
Yes.
I've never once regretted giving
Right. That's true.
my time, my money. I've never regretted that.
Yeah, I've been to bad events, but if you're out there actively serving and you're serving from a place of good, like a place in your heart that you know it's like I'm actually making a difference. I'll tell you what's even better is when, like, it's one thing for me to go out and serve, but it's another when I go get my wife and my kids and we all serve, and that's different. I'll leave that event filled up. Yeah. And that's not just a Darren deal. It's a family deal and it's a community deal. That's when you start to feel the power.
Yeah, and here's the thing too is that it's you serve at a charity or you do something like that, but like, what about you and your spouse take a younger couple out and pour into them and mentor and do stuff like that? Like my wife and I were just in Miami last week at a conference, and it was a NFL Christian conference, and we leave this conference every single year just jacked up and on fire because we get to like talk with younger couples that have not yet gone through what we've already gone to, and we get to have those conversations and we get to encourage, and then there's a relationship on the other side of that, right? After we talk and share our experiences and listen to them and cry with them, laugh with them, whatever it may be, and man, like, just a one-on-one connection can be just as powerful as going and, filling up an entire park with bark on a Friday night by yourself. Like whatever it is, right? So it's whatever opportunity you have. And I want to go back to this Ukraine situation. Is like, well, what can we do? Right? You kind of feel helpless. Like, what can you do right now? I can't fly over there with an AR and
I've seen some
Russians.
I've seen some websites that of places you can give money to. I guess that's what you can do. But to your overall point,
the challenge,
you feel helpless.
Yeah, the
like,
challenge is there's the nonprofit the nonprofit sector is a sector that has been
there you're going,
bastardized.
Yeah, it's been taken advantage of, and it's been. Man, it's bad because there's so many out there. So what I would say is immediately, and I posted this on my story on Instagram. Benjamin Watson posted something, and it's like, okay, this Ukraine situation right now. What can we do? Kids are asking questions. They're hearing about it. One thing that he said is lean into it. There's an opportunity to do something when you feel like you can do nothing is have this conversation with your kids. Talk about justice, right? Talk about what justice looks like in our lives here in the United States, in our communities. What does that look like? What does forgiveness look like? What does faith look like? There's all these topics that come out of this that we can then lean into our kids, have a very honest conversation with them. And obviously it's got to be age appropriate, but have a conversation with your kids, make an impact there first. Like, it's a terrible situation over there, and we really do feel helpless, and you got to kind of let the dust settle on saying, okay, hey, where is my money going to go the furthest, and who's doing the best things with my money before you give? But do something here first, right? Use that scenario. And one thing that I've looked at this Ukraine situation is, man, like the issues that we have here are so trivial.
That's exactly what I was about to say, man. It's so true.
Right? We're worried about
Reset the perspective for sure.
We're worried about political sides and who's saying what and wearing a mask or not wearing a mask. And you know, we're worried about, you know, in Texas, the big thing right now is trans kids and, you know, with, you know, parents, if being abuse or not abuse, if you let your kid have a certain, I mean, there's all these issues, right? That we're like, that's nothing.
Hot topic. Yeah.
When you have tanks running over cars on the freeway with pedestrians inside of it, like, what bathroom you go into is not real important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that those topics
No,
are not
you're
important
not
to
saying-
certain
yeah.
people, but let's put it in perspective. Like,
Well, that's
what are we all bitching over?
Yeah. Well, and that's the point, because to the people that are personally affected by the transgender thing, that is everything to them.
It is.
Yeah. It's very important to them.
Right.
Yes.
It is very, and I'm with you. I'm totally with
Yeah.
you. Our perspective is, hey, there's people literally dying
Yeah.
on the other side of the world. That's probably more important.
But I'm talking to the you and me people, the people that get worked up on social media because we see this, and then you get in the comment section and it doesn't affect us.
Right.
It does not have a direct impact. But what we're doing is we're throwing fuel on the hate fire,
Wasting your damn time.
and
That's what
wasting
you're
your
doing.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's have some perspective. Look, if these issues are important to you, just like I said, dive in.
yeah.
Make an impact, make a change, whatever it is that's important to you. But if it's not important to you, we just waste so much of our time getting in the comments, arguing with people, and zero solutions come from it.
It's the whole activity versus productivity discussion.
Yeah.
In this scenario, it's, to your point, activity is jumping in there in the comment section.
Yeah.
Productivity is diving in, getting involved, showing up, giving your money. And that's what I hope when I'm speaking to myself and the people listen. That's what I hope that people get out of this episode is find something. I know you can't care about everything.
Yeah.
But just like Darren is connected with the inner city, find something and dive head first and get involved.
Do you want to make an impact, or do you want to make an impression? Do you really want to make an impact? I mean, think of the definition, right? An impact. Think of a bomb dropping in an impact on the ground. You got a big crater. An impression is you putting your hand on a pillow, on like a Tempur-Pedic pillow,
And it goes
and you
away.
see and it goes away.
Fades away. Yeah.
Are you worried about making an impression on social media that's going to make zero impact, or you can actually go do something about it?
You got to be disruptive, man. If you're going to do something, be disruptive with it. And, you know, again, look, Ukraine is going on right now, but there's so many other genocides that are going around in Africa and around the world, man. It's just, it's happening. And I think one of the things you said, Tyler, is that it's a learning lesson, right? This is a time where we can learn something about our world individually, but we can also teach our kids and, you know, of what's going on, well, of the good and bad that goes on in the world. And we should, you know, if they're appropriate age, we should have those discussions with our kids. So it is at this moment in our life. Yes, we're here in the States, but we can use these as teaching moments to give to our own children.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Hey, look, it's scary times right now. It's confusing times. It's confusing because we don't know what's true, what's not true.
That's
there's
the
a
other
lot
thing.
of there's a lot of like propaganda out there. You don't know what media source to trust because I mean I've seen pictures that it's like the funniest pictures. It's like these stage dudes with guns.
Well,
and
did you see the Miss the Miss Ukraine. Did y'all see that picture?
No.
They have Miss Ukraine sitting there with a gun, combat gear, everything, and they were passing around like she's on the front lines. It was an airsoft gun.
Yeah.
Oh, totally staged.
Well, there's Steven Seagal is apparently fighting.
Steven Seagal
for the Russian army too, by the way.
In L.A.
So it's
the
like
Malibu sign.
It's
Hollywood sign in the background.
Look, in all tragedy, there's going to be people that are trying to monetize that and take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
So just be very careful what you consume. Be very careful with what you hold as truth and gospel. I would do your best to filter through it. But hey, look.
How old is Steven Seagal? How old is he, man?
Oh, he's got to be at least mid-60s, man.
No, he's older than that.
well,
No, he's
and,
gotta be
and,
in his 60s.
a more
85.
and like a more serious note. You know, we're joking. And more
hard to kill,
serious
man.
note, there's pictures going around of like a father saying bye to his kids,
Yeah.
and apparently this is old. These are old pictures from way back when.
See,
They're not even today. They weren't even taken in the last week. And so that's the other. You're like trying to sift through the bullshit, and it's like you want to care.
I saw that video, the one getting on the bus, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this
Right.
is real.
Yeah, but
and
you
I'm
know
like,
what? Let me say this, man.
and the bus drives off to like it's
but you know what?
Phoenix, Arizona.
but at the same time,
Scottsdale,
like,
Scottsdale bus line.
in our heart, we know what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
And
The
we do.
reality
Like,
is
there's people who have agendas and they're going to put things on the internet, and you're right, might be outdated or whatnot. But we all know there's a cause, and there's some good and bad here.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's outlined in the situation of how Russia has invaded a sovereign country.
Yeah.
It's not good,
and kids are dying.
and kids are dying.
Innocent people are
That's
dying.
right.
Yeah.
So we know what's good and bad.
Yeah.
But just listen, do what you can do.
Yep.
Focus in your home first, and then work outward from there.
Yeah.
Go to your community.
Yeah.
Do things that actually make an impact.
How do you guys, not to keep belaboring, but how do you guys keep from getting overwhelmed in a scenario like this? I like that action point, Tyler, of, have these conversations with the kids, but how do you keep from getting sucked into the all the issues?
You know what? I think we're probably experienced as a nation. All the political shit that we've gone through over the last 8 years or so. We're pretty experienced about what you feel like is a newsworthy source, and what you're not. I think those that are kind of educated are like, okay, I know I can't really believe this source, but I can believe this. But at the same time, don't overwhelm yourself with things you can't control.
Well,
there are certain things.
Let me rephrase my question. Not the BS, but how do you keep from getting inundated with all the problems?
Right.
There's so many problems.
Look, I have my own problem. I think this is how I'll tell you how I look at it. I have my own set of concerns every single day. They're already outlined. Every single day. It's family, it's my own work, my business stuff, it's my community service, it's whatever it is that surrounds me in my world, in my bubble that I live in. I got to deal with those things on a day-to-day basis. I can't be the hero to everyone else outside of my own scope. Take care of what's right in front of you. What's right in front of you right now is your wife, your kids, your work, or whatever. Take care of that, and then be the best person you can be, and maybe go out and help outside of that.
I think, man, it's perspective, and you hit it on the head, right? You can't be God.
Yeah.
You can't fix everything. We don't have that power. And in my scenario, man, is I do serve a God that does know everything.
That's right.
And that does know what's going on and can make an impact, right? And in times like this, and pray for Ukraine, and I love that. But here's the deal: is like, yes, pray for them, but here's the reality: is we're going to move on from it next week.
That's right.
Right. But I believe that there's a God that cares for every single one of those people there, on both sides.
That's right.
And He is ultimately in control, and I don't have to be. And so that's not going to bog me down, because I can't control what's happening over there. But what I can do is I can make an impact inside my house and inside my sphere of influence.
That's right. How about you? You asked the question.
I'm just going to copy and paste what y'all said.
He's just going to share your story to my story.
No, I really do like what you said, though, Tyler, is starting in the home with my kids, with my two boys. Because that's another thing that overwhelms me, is their generation coming up.
Sure.
And what is their life going to look like when they're 20, 25, 30.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
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 And part of that is up to me, but it's overwhelming because my kids, I'm going to raise my kids in the way that I'm going to raise them. And in my opinion, in an impactful way, or that's my goal. And unless something crazy happens, I don't think they're going to be complete shitheads. I don't think they're going to go off the rails and just, become mass murderers. But it's like, is that enough to just raise my boys in that way?
Hey, maybe
Is that really going to even make an impact? Because they were going to be raised normal anyway.
Yeah.
So how do we get a hold of the kids that weren't going to be normal?
Is you do that, but I mean, in your scenario, is you impact people outside of just your house all the time, right? And your parents raised you in a way that impacted people positively. I mean, look what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Like however many tens of people that are listening right now.
However many 6 people are listening right now.
So your mom, my mom. How many 3 people are listening right now?
The problem is the people that are listening already know us. So.
Yeah. But here's the thing is you're impacting those people. And just think about with your boys and those people, hopefully you can make enough of an impact that they impact people.
No,
Same thing with your boys. So start there, right? And it's a chain reaction from there.
Yeah.
So like you said, you can create a life sucker in the community or you can create a life giver in the community. It's your choice.
Yeah.
It's
It's on you, bro.
All
What we
right.
always go back to. Starts with you.
Starts with you.
Starts with you. Yep.
I hate
you.
that that's the truth. I came into this podcast 2 years ago, convinced.
Remember how mad we were? It was like, dude, it's not good to be selfish. What are you talking about?
I was hell bent on proving you wrong.
Yeah.
I know you were.
And not only have I not proved you wrong,
He kind of twisted that selfish term a little bit though, and made it like the generalized term of being selfish is not good, but you twisted it in a way where it was like, all right, Darren, that's starting to make a little bit of sense. How you explained it.
turns out you've lived some life.
I live some life. I'm an old man.
Turns
bro.
out you got some wisdom.
Yeah. A little bit. A little bit.
All right.
Speaking of life giving
Yeah.
and giving,
Yeah.
the way that you can give to us is by sharing these episodes.
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Text it to a buddy, put it on your Instagram. We're on Apple Podcast app. We're on Spotify, all podcast platforms. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram, one.shot.pod. Sharing the show is the best way that you can help us out.
Yeah.
And a lot of you guys do it, and we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Keep doing that because that's how this show grows. That's how we, to your point, Ty, that's how we influence more people.
That's right.
Our sphere of influence grows
Yeah.
by the people that listen to this podcast, going out in your community
Yeah.
and doing these things that we talked about.
Dan, here's the deal is the show's called The One Shot. And for those of you that have just joined, it's about taking advantage of this one opportunity we have at life and doing something that you were created to do. So look, if for us, we feel like this is part of our journey, and if this has made an impact on you, please share with other people, bring it up in conversation. And if it hasn't, then don't. If you're just like, these dudes are a bunch of idiots, then don't share, and that's fine. But if it has impacted you, if you feel like, hey, I think this would be good to share with a buddy or a coworker or a family member, then please share, because we are really trying to be a beacon of light. And I say beacon, that's a really strong word, but a light in a very dark world right now. And we just need more positive energy and encouragement. And that's what we're trying to be. Sometimes we miss the mark a little bit, but we're trying our best.
Preach, preacher.
Word.
One shot.
All right, y'all. Love y'all.
Appreciate it.